Just a little disclaimer, as I am recording this voiceover thingy-mabobber, I am very sick, so if I sound like a dying cat, I'm very sorry. I wanted to wait until my voice maybe cleared up a little bit so I don't sound like a frog, but it is currently Sunday night at 4:56 p.m., and this is due on Tuesday, and I don't think I'm going to be getting any better anytime soon, so yay for procrastination! Woo! Okay, alright, that's enough. Back to the video, sorry.
People are sick and tired of gun violence, and the time is now.
I don't want to make apologies for my Second Amendment right, so I don't expect people to make apologies for their First Amendment right.
Well, it's kind of like somebody telling you not to breathe.
You can't equate guns with breathing.
Actually, I can. Do you have the right to defend yourself? Do you have the right to breathe?
One of the most important topics covered in the news recently is gun control. Democrats and Republicans can never quite agree on what to do when it comes to the issue of gun violence. In 2018 alone, there were about 323 mass shootings, in which 387 people were killed and 1,274 were injured. When reporting on these events, it becomes clear which news channels lean more towards which side and which ones are more biased than others. When it comes to the two parties reporting on a topic like this, it usually plays out like, well, I think John Oliver kind of explains it the best.
Yet another school shooting left 17 dead and many injured. These events are now so familiar, we basically automatically know how each side will play out. Thoughts and prayers? Fuck your thoughts and prayers. It's a mental health problem, yeah, but it's also a gun problem, and then someone says, now's not the time to talk about gun control, and everyone moves on until it inevitably happens again.
By far, the most biased conservative news channel is Fox News. Their shows include Tucker Carlson, Hannity, and Laura Ingraham, all of whom are very well known for their very conservative commentary.
Banning guns does not prevent crime, just the opposite. More guns prevent crime. More guns save lives. And by the way, it appears these people on the left don't care about the Constitution.
Tragedies like this happen for a reason, and it probably doesn't have a lot to do with guns.
Look, there are close to 15 million AR-15 style rifles in the United States today. It's one of the top-selling style of weapons in the country. And it may be hard to believe, especially after last week, these guns are actually rarely used to commit violent crimes.
And for the Democrats, the most biased news channels are MSNBC and CNN.
Let me end tonight with a word about guns and the feeling so many of us have after a deadly shooting. As I opened the show last night, I noted how gruesomely accustomed we have gotten to this.
Someone who isn't even allowed to buy alcohol legally is allowed to buy a war weapon? Like, where does that make sense?
Some dead giveaways in telling if a news channel is biased or not is their use of exaggerated language. One party will usually use way over-exaggerated language on anything about an opposite party, whether it be their goals or what they have said in speeches or whatever. For example, Republicans calling Democrats snowflakes every 5 seconds. Yeah, that's a thing. Here's a compilation of that.
So all you worried snowflakes out there that are quaking in your boots, it's a happy day for you. You have a new anthem. 2 comedian country stars standing up for conservatives and telling you guys out there always scared to knock it off.
Pulling on the heartstrings is another great example. Liberal news channels especially will try and play with your emotions, or as y'all AP English kids know, they use a lot of pathos. Alright.
I'm doing okay. It was incredibly scary and our teacher had us hide in the closet.
Oh. Can you... I would have been so scared, and can I just say you are so brave to be standing there with me today, and I am in awe of you.
More specifically, in terms of gun control, if a news channel is obviously against the idea of stricter gun laws, chances are they're probably conservative. If the channel supports stricter gun laws, for example, those that would require more background checks, longer waiting periods, and safer storage of firearms, then they're most likely liberal. It is very important to know what flags to look for when reporting on a topic such as gun violence and gun control, especially when it directly affects us as students. Even in Connecticut, we have had quite a few big stories regarding gun violence. 7 years ago, the tragedy at Sandy Hook occurred. 20 children and 6 staff members were killed by a school shooter. This was one of the earlier school shootings that has taken place in America, and since then, several more have happened across the country. More recently, in Guilford, Ethan Song's life was taken due to the improper storage and use of a handgun. Song was at a friend's house, playing with a Magnum handgun that belonged to his friend's father. The gun was stored in a cardboard box in a plastic Tupperware container in the father's closet. Song and his friend found the gun, and Ethan accidentally shot himself in the head, ultimately ending his life. Since the incident, Ethan's parents, Michael and Kristen Song, have been fighting for a bill to be passed in the state of Connecticut. This bill, called Ethan's Law, requires safe and proper storage of untended firearms, loaded or unloaded, if a minor under the age of 18 is present in the home. Past law only required this for loaded firearms.
Ethan's Law removes the loophole that says it's all about who loaded that gun. Fortunately, in many of these cases, you can't prove who loaded the gun, so it muddies the waters and nothing happens. And gun owners have no incentive or motivation to change any behavior, and this goes on and on and on. Here's the great news. By just removing that word loaded out of the current statutes and creating Ethan's Law, we can really focus on what's important, what matters most, which is how those guns are secured.
The bill was passed in the House on May 7th, and on May 23rd was passed in the Senate and became state law.